So, we are live and direct here in Cork City, and as a who is here with us today,
Thank you.
and there was a very interesting call, a live video that took place today, and before we even get started at all, just to kind of dive into it a little bit, just give us a brief outline. I personally missed it, and I'm sure a lot of people got to watch it, but some may have missed it themselves. But I heard there's a lot of juicy and really, really resourceful information that was
Very true.
then
Very
out there.
true.
So, a brief introduction. We'll do the intro later, but just give us maybe a minute, a couple of minutes of it.
All right, that's fine. So for those who didn't have the opportunity to watch today, for various reasons, I understand some people are working and all of that. So today we had a We Move 99. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, what are we going to do next? And what's going to happen next? We've gone into the streets, people have been killed. Is the momentum going to then die, power us and all of that? And so for me, and it's interesting to know that on the Zoom live,
So we had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we're back live and direct. And if you just carry on from where you left off there, so basically the really resourceful Zoom call that took place today, I believe it was also streamed on Arise TV and on YouTube as well. Yeah. So just a small brief overview of what went on.
All right, that's fine. So before we went off, what I was saying was that the Nigerian youths have been asking what next, what's the next level, what's the next phase of the movement, seeing that obviously the protest has been truncated by means that are above us, means that we couldn't control. And so what are we going to do going forward? And so for the meeting for me today, which is the We Move Niger, it was a very good session for me, and the reason being that it opened up with Mr. Peter Side, who was invited. Prior to this time, he had already spoken about it and given support for the young people. And so seeing him on board today was a good one, because he came with a very realistic approach. Everybody can talk and talk, but he had a plan. He had a slide in. He had a slide for the plan that he had for us going forward. And so things that I could pick up, he talked about having influencers, representatives, and people who could channel the movement. The other thing that I said, which is very profound, which prior to this time I'd already discussed it with a couple of my friends, is pushing INEC to then start to register people. There's no reason why you shouldn't register people for an election that is 2023. Everybody who's 18 and above right now needs to have their PVC going forward. So he talked about pushing INEC, asking INEC to then from 2021 people should get their PVC. And prior to this time, what happens? What's obtainable is that 3 months before the election, 4 months before the election, INEC rolls out and asks people to go register. So we need a 3-year plan, a 2-year plan from INEC, and that's what he said as well. He said another thing that's very profound as well. He talked about the electronic voting, and definitely I'm in support of that. Electronic voting, because that's going to just cut short the situation with those who snatch ballot boxes, because obviously everything is now online and there's nothing to really snatch. So definitely we also need to push for that as well. So Mr. Peter's side section was really very good, very educative, very innovative, and I liked it. Aisha Yusufu as well, bless her soul, was a very good session as well. She talked about the movement and the momentum, and she's been a very great figure in the whole movement as well. And Faust Folarin, great guy as well. The session was very mind-blowing, not too long. Folarin gave his own opinion about what the situation is going forward, and he also gave a shout out to Runtown as well. And so for me, as well, and that's a very, very good one. Also there was a panel, and the panel for me was a good one as well, because I was able to hear which the comedian Macaroni speak. I was able to hear Reno speak as well, and then they talked about the movement, the future of the movement, and so the future of the movement in the sense that what do we need to do? What are the things that we need to clear off the air? And so for me, like, that meeting was mind-blowing, because like I said prior, we had about 3,000 people on the Zoom call, and we ran out of space, and then we had to then move to YouTube as well. We had song renditions from Timi Dakolo, we had song renditions from MI as well, and from Dari as well. So that's definitely good. I also learned in the program as well, I learned that unfortunately some people who are part of the protests are still not released. Government said, we're going to speedily release all the protesters. I remember listening to a Kano youths very passionate young Hausa guy who was talking about the protests in Kano, and it was really painful knowing that people are still locked up and they haven't been released just by protesting, which is like the most fundamental human right of a Nigerian, of anybody, to ask and demand justice, to ask and demand that they get better governance. So I wonder what if we can't really ask for if we can't ask for better governance and ask that people don't kill us, because basically the protest was, please speak to the Nigerian police not to kill us. And in turn, people get killed in the city. It's like an oxymoron, demanding that I don't get killed. And then in the process of demanding that I don't get killed, people get killed again. And it's really, really very sad. And so for me, things that I would pick up from the We Naija movement, we move Naija, is one, the spirit is not dead, because I remember listening to Abudu as well. I remember listening to the woman who's the chair of office of the Nigerian citizen, and I could see the passion, I could see the momentum, I could see plan. For me, you see, it goes beyond we just protesting and requesting and shouting. It's great, all of that is great, but going forward, because we can clearly see that we need to have a strategy. We need to channel that energy into 2021 and then see how we can take it up from there. And then obviously, I remember them talking about, obviously, political party. Would this be a movement to start the Young People Democratic Party, the New Niger Democratic Party? Is it necessarily a move to start a political party, which is like one of the very, very important questions people are asking. And I remember people chipping in very important opinions and very important suggestions. One of them was like, she would prefer, which is the woman who's the convener of the Office of the Citizen of Nigeria. She said, and I quote, she said she would prefer to see a Folarin who's educating people about their rights, who's fighting for people, than a Folarin is going for political posts. Because in our opinion, it makes it seem like, oh, maybe they want to be governors, maybe they want to be presidents. But in actual fact, that some people can be in the background, just, giving advices and everything. One profound thing Faust said that made sense to me as well is that they will begin to sensitize people on how to recall House of Representatives, which is, for me, a good thing, because going forward, I feel like, for instance, somebody like Desmond Elliot, I stand to be corrected, who was commissioned very controversial projects in his constituency. I mean, if he has better proofs, I'll be willing to be proven wrong. And apart from him as well, I've seen a female House of Representative as well, who was supposed to share things for palliatives, who was supposed to share for the Nigerian people, the poor people, rice, indomie and everything, who then in turn shared it on her birthday as souvenirs. And so it's, unfortunate, but Falza said in those kind of instances, those kind of House of Representatives should be able to be recalled. People need to know their power. People need to know that we are the one who are really sponsoring the lifestyles of these people. And so going forward, for me, I love that, one, we also want to then take our future in our hands, which is, for me, like one of the most important things. Because if you wait for the Nigerian politician, they're not going to do anything for you. They're not going to do jack for you. So going forward, for me, definitely was long overdue. And I remember it was compared by Ibuka anyway, and it was a very good interactive section. We went from one session to one session and the other session as well. So definitely it was definitely a good experience for me. And so listening to the female speakers as well, Abadu talked about feminist core, and for me, I was definitely impressed. She talked about them having to come together. I mean, they had no money, 3 months prior, nobody knew, that they would need support and everything. 3 months prior, and then they started Feminist Co. And what we have today is one of the backbones of what we had at the protest, because I remember her saying that on the morning of the event, you were like, oh, please, can we just have breakfast for people? And boom, she said within 19 minutes, because I remember she saying that within 19 minutes, they had 500,000, and then donations started to come in and come in and come in. And so they started to help people and raised a lot of money. So that already shows to you that within about 10 days, we had raised 80 million naira. That's a lot of money. Why? Because we're not just only tired of police brutality. We're tired of bad governance. We're tired of being killed. We're tired of having to do everything ourselves. I'm a Nigerian citizen myself, and I stand to be corrected. I went to a private primary school, private secondary school, and and then I asked myself, what is the value of a Nigerian life? What is Nigeria doing for its citizens? And so going forward, I mean, listening to how feminists had been able to then do everything themselves. There wasn't a time that Nigerian governments had to shut up or shut down their bank account, and it's pretty sad, that we have situations where we have corrupt people who have stolen money, their accounts are never shut down. But family schools, obviously, they were backbone of the protests. Their accounts got shut down. So for me, I believe that there will be more symposia, there will be more presentation, there will be more meetings, and so yeah, it was a very, very good meeting anyway. I hope that gave you an idea in case you missed it.
Thank you very much. It's really, really insightful. And it's great to see that we have knowledge not only amongst the youth, but to see that there are older people out there as well who do have that knowledge and are willing to speak out, possibly at the expense of their OGs, these big guys out there that made, disown them for speaking against them. But before we proceed any further, we're just going to take a very, very short commercial break, and we will be back with you guys shortly. We are live and direct in Cork City, Ireland. On set, following up from the Lekki massacre, October 2020, we will never forget. Silent. And we ask for answers. We must get answers. Justice for those who have passed. Here at PhotoxMatters, we've got Ade, and you need no further introduction.
Everyone, like David had said, my name is Ademola Daniel. I live in Highland, Cork City at the moment, and an unfortunate incident has happened on the 20th of October 2020. Already the year is already tough enough for everyone. It's tough enough for the black community as well. But with the incident that happened in Lekki, it's heartbreaking, it's devastating, it's mortifying, and we're in a situation where everyone is bleeding in their hearts for the situation that has happened. Now, just to give you a little background with what is happening with the SARS situation, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of hashtags with regards to end SARS. And SARS is supposed to be an anti-robbery squad in Nigeria to help combat crime in Nigeria. But what has happened is that because they are supposed to help us combat crime, they are doing the exact opposite. I'll give you 2 instances. I have a friend who is a solicitor in Nigeria. Went to visit a client to, perfect a brief in regards to something that they had to do together. And on his way back, he used the public transport. The SARS officials who are supposed to be guarding the citizens and protecting us and fighting against armed robbers in Lagos and in Nigeria anyway. They stopped everybody and they found the laptop, with my friend. Upon questioning, he showed his identity card and all. They wouldn't even, have a full-fledged conversation with my friend. They put him on the van, and for about 3 days, we didn't hear from my friend. And by the time he would come back, he had given us the stories of how he was extorted. They took him to the ATM. ATM is obviously where you take money off in Nigeria. And they extorted money off him. And you ask yourself, what happens to the faith of the common man? Because it seems to us that this happened with people who, in quotes, are not government officials' children or government officials or people who are powerful in Nigeria. So what has led to the situation of SARS is because Nigerians have said, listen, we are tired of being killed. So first and foremost, we do not have proper education in Nigeria. We don't have funding for education in Nigeria. It's one of the lowest worldwide. We do not have good healthcare system. So you need to be in the government hospitals. It is in a terrible state. If you get to the government hospitals, you would literally weep. And so we're not asking that government should fix the hospitals. We're not asking that government should increase the budget for education. We're not asking for palliatives. We're asking that we want to be alive. And so it's a tough time for the Nigerian youths because they have come together. And the beautiful thing about the NSAS situation is because everybody's saying the same thing, because in the eastern part of Nigeria, we've heard stories of officers killing innocent citizens and throwing their body in rivers, and their parents need to go get their bodies in the river. That's one of the most terrible things that can happen to anybody, any parents, knowing that your child is dying or dead and hoping that, I hope it's not my child that I'm looking for in the river who's dead. And so that's like a background of why NSAS. On the 20th of October 2020 in Lagos, Lekki, the unfortunate incident happened at, the government of the governor of the state announced at 12 thereabouts, saying that there would be a curfew in the state. Now, hitherto to the time of making the announcement, you can't make an announcement 4 hours prior or 5 hours prior and expect that people are going to run to their houses, because the distance between Lekki and some of the people who stay on the mainland is about 45 minutes, because you need to go through the Third Mainland Bridge. And so how do you expect people to disappear, given it's okay, there's now a curfew? Now, at 5 thereabouts, we had young Nigerians protesting with the Nigerian flag, singing the Nigerian anthem. And the good thing about this is because it was live. We saw that it was live. So even if the narrative is trying to be changed, it's unfortunate because I don't want to mention the name of the DJ for security purposes of the person involved. But she was live and we could see what the situation was. And the unfortunate situation happened. So they they removed the CCTV cameras for reasons best known to the government, put off the lights. They're very big lights when you get to Lekki Toll, that is very conspicuous when you get there. They put it off, they put off the CCTV camera, and when the military men came in, there are many alternatives. You can have a dialogue with these people because they are unharmed citizens without guns, without nothing. They were there basically sitting down there, just singing songs and hoping that the government will listen to them. Unfortunately, water could have been poured on them, they could have a conversation. We don't want you people here. You people need to go home. There are a lot of things that can be done aside killing people. And unfortunately, we listened to the governor today saying that the military men actually did not go there on his orders. And so we're asking, who gave the order to kill Nigerian unharmed citizens who were asking not to be killed, but in turn were killed. And so the shootings went on for a bit, and then we could see people's bodies, lifeless bodies. One of the videos that was most heartbreaking was when we then saw a situation where people were trying to remove the bullets from the body of someone. People who were not trained as medical doctors. It's heartbreaking. It's painful. When that happened, the next morning, there was still shooting. It's unfortunate. The next morning, I was on live with the DJ as well and some other people, and had not stopped. So what would the government do? They started to deny the narratives, and we saw what happened. I want to analyze one issue after the other. The first thing is, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? We have a president in the country. We have a governor of a state. For a military... Now, to just give a little background of why that shouldn't happen, years ago, Governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, had to beg Jonathan to take away the military off the street of Lagos. Because even though the governor of Lagos doesn't have the constitutional right to order the military around, he has the constitutional right to be there to protect the citizens and the people who elected him as the governor. The other thing he can do is to ask that the military be taken away from the streets, because those are unharmed citizens. And so that begs the question, why would the president of a country order that people be shot without prior warning? And we've lost a lot of lives to this, and it's absolutely not needed. And the part that pains the most is that the government is trying to change the narrative. So we hear things like, oh, there was no death, and then subsequently there was one person dead, and then so I'm glad, because Amnesty International has been able to say, and they tweeted and said they have verified videos of that incident, and it's unfortunate. It's not supposed to happen in a democracy. Your constitutional rights should be allowed to protest. You should, at every given time, be allowed to speak against injustice. You should be allowed to speak and say that you don't want things that matter. And so today we ask the question, is it too much that Nigerian youths are asking for better governance? Is it too much that we are asking that don't kill us? Because that's what NSAS is saying. Do not kill us. Compensate those who have been killed. Investigate. We need a judicial panel to say, these people have been killed. We need justice. I know the story particularly about a particular guy called Kolade Johnson. He went to watch football. Of course, Nigerian citizens love to watch the English Premiership. And when he was coming back, he got hit by a straight bullet. And as I speak to you, no officer has been disbanded. No officer has been charged to court. This acts us. People say, oh, the government has already said that they disband SARS. But the unfortunate incident is that in 2017 this was done, 2018 it was done, 2019 it was done, 2020. And so the young people are saying, we don't want you to just say it on the TV. We want an executive order. An executive order will make it a proper law, and that way the hoodlums, because that's what I call them, hoodlums who are supposed to take care of us, will go off the streets. And so we say, how many more people would have to die? I can keep calling their names, Emmanuel Ego, Kolade Johnson, and all the names that are, and recently as well, okay, he lost his life, and it's unfortunate because the families of these people are in distress, they're in pain, and we ask ourselves, where do we go from here?
The military of Nigeria come out and say that they were not involved. That they were not involved.
All right.
It's laughable.
Very laughable.
It's laughable that they can say boldly that they were not involved. Though we saw what we saw.
Videos.
there were videos which they now say and claim that are fake, that have been doctored, that have been photoshopped in their own words. These people, they're used to giving us lame excuses and not be questioned. But now we are questioning them. What question would you have for the Nigerian army right now?
So for me, I know that it may sound controversial, but from what I know about the Nigerian army, for you to deny that never happened is one of the most painful things ever, because we could see the uniforms. I saw the news anyway, and I just want to ask a question. Who ordered? Because for armies go with orders. Who ordered? Because the governor of Lagos State has come out to say he never gave the orders. So who gave the order? Why was the order given to kill unarmed citizens? And they allegedly said that some of the bodies, because I watched some of the videos of the eyewitnesses, some of the bodies were taken away off the scene. So the military came out to deny that it was photoshopped. But now the governor of Lagos State is saying to us that there was actual shootings and the military was there. The question is, what is the value of human life in Nigeria? I want to ask the Nigerian military, what is the value of human life to you? How do you feel knowing that that could be your cousin? I don't want to believe that in every of that crowd, there's not one person who's related to a military person. It could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be your cousin, it could be your nephew. How? What is the value of human life to the Nigerian military? Because I grew up understanding that we are the future of tomorrow. I heard that all day, I sang the song all day, and I'm asking, why are you killing my future presidents? Why are the future governors being killed? Why are the legislators being killed? Why are the people who intend to change that country being killed? Because I know that those people were unarmed, and if they wanted to take up arms, they could have. But those people have been killed. And I hope that their souls will rest in peace, and I hope they would ever get justice in their lifetime. And in the families would see justice and know that their child didn't just die, their child didn't just go, but they got justice. Justice would help the family, but it doesn't bring the life back. So my question again to the Nigerian military is, what is the value of human life to you? What is the value of human life to you?
So we have further updates on this matter. Tinubu has come out to plead with the people that he did not order the military to come out and kill the people. Which implies that the military were there. Though the military denies their presence there, though they were seen there, they went as far as posting on their Twitter page 2 screenshots from Sahara reporters saying fake news. How does that instill any sort of confidence in the people who are supposed to protect us in Nigeria? As well as that, we had Atiku come out and he pleaded with the people of Nigeria, and he spoke out his heart, and he spoke against the terror that's been inflicted on the people of Nigeria. The terror that's been inflicted on them by the Nigerian army, whom have boldly come out to say that they were not involved. What kind of message is that sending to the future of Nigeria?
I just want to correct the impression of people saying that Tinubu ordered the military to go to Lekki. First and foremost, I would say that Tinubu definitely sold the idea of Buhari to us. So if you're talking about responsibility, then you can say Tinubu supported Buhari and then show that Buhari came into power for the second time. then is responsible for that. But ordering the soldiers to come to Lekki, Tinubu has no constitutional powers, constitutional rights to be able to do that. Sanwo-Olu as well has no constitutional rights and constitutional powers to be able to do that. They only order soldiers. Elected him as the president, but he couldn't address it. And if you listen to the speech, there were a little innuendos and a little jabs there for you to know that if it happens next week again, the president is willing again to send people to shoot the citizens of Nigeria. And can guide them anymore. And so we hope, and the meaning of this, by sending military that the president has done, is that you are saying to people that this thing cannot be talked over via a dialogue. It also means that the president cannot see how to manage the situations without involving the military, because the military is an extreme decision to put on the streets in Nigeria. We've lost faith in the government, and it's unfortunate. And we hope that Nigerians don't forget 2020, October 20th, the day that Nigerian youths who had no guns, no knives, nothing, were killed in cold blood.
That was great. And then, lastly, how can we move forward? What's the direction the people can take when the leadership aren't taking responsibility? The leadership aren't ready to govern. And that they want to govern is the money of the people. The money that's been used for reasons other than what they should be used for. How can one restore its faith in the humanity of Nigeria? How can one restore its faith in the justice system? It's been shown that there is no justice for it. And when you fight, you're killed. What hope is left for the future?
Going forward, I think that because I'm a realist, I like to talk about the solutions more than the problem itself. So I'm just going to say that in 14 days, Feminist Call was able to raise about 8 young people, 8 women came together and said 3 months ago that they wanted to come together to make a change. And then within 14 days, I want the young that you were not oppressed. There was no leader for the group. And so one of the things I want to say going forward is that we need to be united, because the day that the soldiers shot at you, they didn't ask you if you were a Muslim or Christian. They didn't ask you your age. They didn't ask you your tribe. They just shot at you. And so we have each other and have a voice and a political party that believes. No, is that you